the little feud brewing between Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boebert in the House around their competing allegiances or lack of allegiance to Kevin McCarthy. Kevin McCarthy running for Speaker of the House, essentially. And there's a bunch of Republicans who don't want him in there. This is, and let's be clear, like, this is not an ideological battle. This is a, you know, Coke and Pepsi. Which flavor do you want to be on? Whose team are you on? Who is...
How are you going to exploit the labor to make it?
Right, exactly. Which one of us is going to get the opportunity to do that? And Gaetz and Boebert, I don't want to say they're principled. They just must be sort of on the outs. I don't know where Gaetz was usually a much bigger Trump guy. Marjorie Taylor Greene is swinging Trump around as a way of saying they don't want Kevin McCarthy.
And Gaetz and Marjorie Taylor Greene were buddies. They did like World Tour of America or whatever. Remember, they had that whole speaking tour where they worked together. So interesting shift. Also, I think Boebert's a little worried since her reelection was so narrow and she almost lost it to a Democrat. Maybe distancing herself from Trump is the right way to go.
Yes. I mean, who knows exactly what's going on there? Maybe it's just personalities. But it is spilling out all over the place. Even Brian Kilmeade is getting a little bit annoyed. Shouldn't you guys have worked this out by now? Here he is on Fox and Friends. He is getting very, very pissy.
It looks like Kevin McCarthy is stuck. He does not have the votes. Matt Gaetz wrote a column the other day, says, I'm never voting for him. He stands for nothing. Have you been approached about being the next speaker if McCarthy can't get it done? And what do you say to those people that don't want to vote for him, who are in your party?
Yeah, no, look, I support Kevin, and I think there's still a lot of conversations that are going on. And Kevin's working to get there. He's going to get there. And that's just been an ongoing conversation this week. We've had a number of additional meetings with leadership and rank and file members going through rules changes. You know, what you hear the most is people are so frustrated with the way the House has been run, and we're going to be changing that. There are a lot of changes coming. And, you know, today is the big frustration because it really takes some of that leverage away from us when we get into the new majority. But, you know, we're going to continue moving forward. We've got work to do, and it's going to be a busy next year. I think you're going to be excited to see
who's changed their vote? Andy Buggs, Andy Biggs. You have Congressman Good. You have Matt Gaetz. Is anyone showing signs of budging, of moving off? Because as you know better than anybody else, nothing can get done. You can't format chairmanship. You can't set up an agenda without a speaker.
Right. We've got to first elect the speaker and then get to work. And so Kevin's meeting with all of those members that you mentioned. We're meeting with a lot of them as a leadership team to go through rules changes. And then Kevin's meeting with them individually as well. So, you know, there's still time to go, and that work continues on.
Now, it's really difficult to know exactly who wants what, but you have a limited amount of sort of like high profile committees. Let's be clear. There's no one who has any legislative priorities. There are no legislative priorities for the Republicans in the House. They obviously they can't pass any laws because it's going to get shot down in the Senate. But even if they could, all you need to do is harken back to the first 2 years of the Trump administration. They didn't do anything except for tax cuts. They're not going to be able to get more tax cuts. It's not like they're setting up some type of like policy proposals for if they take the Senate and the presidency in 2 years. So it's really just about who's going to get the most bat crap crazy committee to investigate the most useless and sort of fever swampy topic.
Like Hunter Biden's nudes, which is what Marjorie Taylor Greene is angling for, as you've been saying, because people forget, like, she's been stripped of her committees and has not necessarily been able to have the power that she's wanted to have, her assignments, since the Democrats have been in control of the House for the past 4 years.
Yeah, she hasn't sat on a committee and at all, never mind chaired one. And I don't think she'll end up chairing one. But when they talk about rules committee, this is what they're talking about. They're talking about like, how do we work around seniority issues because there's somebody who's in Matt Gaetz's way, and Matt Gaetz wants to have the power because then you also get the contributions and from big donors. And so that's what's going on here. And the question is, what does Matt Gaetz, what does Biggs want? What do these people want in terms of their own personal fiefdom? And will it come at the expense of other Congress people who are willing to capitulate and suck it up so that Kevin McCarthy can be leader? All good stuff. They'll resolve this at one point. They have to. It really doesn't make a difference whether it's Kevin McCarthy is the leader or whomever at the end of the day. But no, this is not a fight for any type of policy or anything like this. It's just for their individual power. And it makes sense. That's what these want. It's just the funny part is that like what they want for their power is just to be able to be the person who comes out and says like, I've examined Hunter Biden's dick pics, and there's some discrepancies that I've noticed, and that's what they're going to be talking about.
And another big thing that they want, specifically in the rules, in those like rules changes that Scalise is talking about, is they want the ability to be able to call a vote to replace McCarthy, basically at any point in his term,
which will be fantastic.
And so he's trying his absolute best to give them basically every other concession but that, because he just does not want to be in a position where he has to be like, oh, like, maybe we do need to raise the debt limit, or maybe we do need to like pass this bill to fund the government, because he can't be the iconoclast anymore when he's actually like leading the House of Representatives.
Yes. And at any moment, if they have the ability to call a vote at any moment, that means that on every single issue that comes up, they are basically going to say like, well, you're either going to do what we want or we're going to have another vote. And remember, you're talking like what, a 4-seat majority, 5-seat majority? That's before you have the normal like sort of attrition amongst Congress people. So this should be pretty interesting going forward.